Annyeonghaseyo, this is meowmurai. Let's continue our game of 9 R.I.P. running on Nintendo Switch 2. That does sound like something he'd say.
そんな紅葉に言わせるとさ、確かに霊には力があるんだって。姿なき霊をこの世に結びつける存在力とでも言うべきもの。仮に霊力みたいな力が。
A presence power? As I mulled it over in my mind, I soon felt another presence approach. Is that?
響くんが近づいてきてる。でも逆に考えればチャンスだよ。彼がここにいるってことは、鏡の前はフリーなわけだし。問題は、道を開けるかが、ぶっつけ本番になることだけど。
That was exactly it. And then I felt the presence make its way to the front of the door.
悩んでる暇はないか。
After muttering that, Sena walked away from me. Is he going to be a decoy? Before I even realized it, Sena was gone. Then I began to hear the two of them speak. Sena's holding him off from me. I have no choice but to go now. Not wanting to waste the chance that Sena had created for me, I quietly slipped away in the opposite direction. I proceeded to exit silently from the door at the back of the library. Seeing as the mirror was fairly close to the library, I reached it without incident. I took the magatama from my pocket and held it in my hand. Then I gently placed my palm on the mirror. If the power is manifested from words, then please allow me to use this to return to my world. I held the stone tightly in my hand, as I wished with all my might. The stone in my hand began to tremble and grow hot. I felt my hand slip gently through the mirror. I did it! My joy was short-lived as I felt my hand getting pushed back by an invisible force. What? Could it be the magatama? Magatama is... When I opened my hand, I saw that the stone had turned black. What? Why? That was when I felt someone approaching. From the bottom of the stairs, I saw Sena. The power of the magatama, it wasn't enough. Sena came up running up the stairs and put his hand over the stone in my hand. What are you doing? Sena didn't answer and closed his eyes. I stared at him, not knowing what he was doing. Then my hand started to heat up, and I looked down at the stone. No way. The color of the stone is... When I looked up to face Sena, his face was contorted with pain. Sena? Something's wrong. My stomach churned with nervous anticipation. Then, the stone in my hand began to emit a dim light. I turned my attention back to him. His presence seemed weak, frail. He looked almost translucent. If Sena keeps doing this, he'll... I immediately pulled the stone away from him. But when I did so, Sena only gave me a faint smile. Was that really true? Promise me you won't disappear. I'd never heard of a ghost disappearing, but looking at Sena in front of me, he seemed like he would fade away at any moment. Sena, answer me. Creepy. I felt a chill run down my spine, and when I looked down the stairs, I saw Hibiki. Sena stood up with his back to me, protecting me. Sena firmly told me to leave, and I glanced briefly back at the mirror. That place beyond the mirror. That's where I'm supposed to be. Can I really just leave Sena now? Yeah, just leave him. What the hell's wrong with you? If Hibiki were to attack him, I had no doubt Sena would disappear. I can't leave him. There's no way. I walked to Sena's side and faced Hibiki in an attempt to protect him. Please, come to your senses. My arms, my legs, my whole body shook. I could barely stand, yet I refused to look away. My eyes were the only way I could show him just how serious I was.
Misa-chan! 今はそんなこと言ってる場合じゃ!
Yeah, Misa, you're kind of a dumbass right now. As I spoke, I turned to glance at Sena. I won't leave Sena. He's too important to me. I love him. When I turned my gaze back to Hibiki, he was already right in front of me. The lack of distance frightened me, but I put all my strength into focusing on him. Sena told me you wanted to bring us together. That was your true intention, right? Ignoring my words, Hibiki's hand continued to extend toward me. You believed in me. That's why you lent me the tools to contact the spirit board. Just then, Hibiki's hand stopped short of touching me. That's why you were worried about Sena. Hibiki's eyes wavered. I know the real Hibiki. You were thinking about us, and that's why you were offered to let us use your world inside the mirror. In his trembling eyes, I saw flashes of the sweet boy I'd come to know. But if you still want to touch me, it's okay. Do as you like. You can take the warmth from me, but the feelings in my heart will not disappear. For Sena's sake, I'll give all I have, and still my feelings will never change. Okay, this part's kind of stupid. I saw a shift in Hibiki's face. His true self was starting to come back. The Hibiki I knew. Are you back? I'm so glad. Everything should be fine. I felt relieved and turned around. Just then, Sena collapsed on the spot. His presence had grown even weaker, and it seemed he would disappear at any moment. Sena! I desperately went to his side and reached out to touch him, but of course I couldn't. I squeezed the Magatama in my hand harder. Please let me touch Sena. At that moment, I was able to touch Sena, and I wrapped my arms around him. Sena, hold on. What if we use the power of the Magatama? I pressed the Magatama against his chest. I don't need to be touched by Sena. Please just give him back his power. But the stone did not shine, and I got the feeling no power was returning to him. Can he not get the power back? No. What should I do? Unsure of what to do, I merely held on to Sena's upper body. I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. I'm so sorry. Tears started welling up in my eyes. I'm sorry I was so selfish, trying to see you. I just couldn't handle it anymore. I knew there was no use in regretting it now. Sena, had I not fallen for you like this? Tears and emotions overflowed from within me. Why? Why did I do this? Then Sena let go of my body. Sena's voice whispered to me a faded no and shook his head. Then,
ごめんね。そんな顔させて。本当は僕の方が言うべきだった。僕は君が好きだ。
this had all been my fault, and yet he was still thinking of my feelings. With a painful look still on his face, he stared at me lovingly.
お互いに言葉も交わせない。君が悲しんでいても涙も拭えない。そんなすれ違いの世界で何十年も苦しみ続けるくらいなら。
Wait, are you saying it's okay if you disappear? As if to affirm my fears, Sena merely replied with a fleeting laugh, but his expression soon became pained again. Sena! With that, Hibiki crouched down next to Sena and placed his hand on his chest. What are you doing?
霊力を込めているんです。僕ができることはこれくらいしか。
Soon, Hibiki's face distorted in pain too, just like Sena did when putting his power into the stone. Is Hibiki trying to do the same for Sena? If so, that would only put Hibiki in danger. Hibiki, is there anything I can do? I don't care what happens to me. Hibiki began to open his mouth, but quickly stopped and pressed his lips together. He looked lost. And I knew that whatever the answer was, it wouldn't be a good one. I told you already, I don't care what happens to me, so please just tell me. Hibiki still appeared uncertain of what to do, but he eventually began to speak.
あなたの力をセナさんに注いでください。彼を思う強い気持ちを込めて、魂からの思いを。
My soul? I couldn't exactly understand what he meant right away, but judging from his expression and words, I had a vague idea. Thoughts from my soul. Does he mean... I gently grasped Hibiki's arm and smiled back at him. Leave the rest to me. With tears streaming down his face, Hibiki pulled himself away from Sena. Gazing at Sena, I felt my thoughts and feelings for him well up inside me. Then... I gently pressed our lips together. If I were to convey my feelings for him from the bottom of my soul, I knew this was the only way. I could feel the heat of my body leaving me and flowing towards Sena. Convinced that my power was flowing into him, I continued to press my lips to his. I understood why Hibiki was reluctant to tell me how to bring Sena back. I felt the life in me being sucked out of my body. As if in answer, Sena's lips moved slightly. At the same time, I felt my body gradually going numb. Hearing the sound of my body collapse next to him, I knew my life had been spent. As our lips slowly parted, Sena gazed at me, confused.
Misa-chan.
I'm here, right next to you. Once he learned the truth, I knew Sena would be upset. It hurt my heart to think of him like that. Yet, I hoped the love I poured out for him would ease his pain. This time, I would be by his side forever. Okay, sorry. Copyright. We don't get to watch that stuff. About a month had passed since then. After the incident, Sena regained his strength and, as expected, was upset about what I did. However, Koyo and I encouraged him and supported him, preventing him from turning into a wraith. As we continued to spend our days together, Sena's spirits eventually brightened, and he seemed to accept the situation. I was worried that perhaps the shock of what had happened would erase his memory again, but thankfully that didn't happen. As for me... Well, Mom, Sis, I'm heading out. I waved my hands in front of my house to see my family off to work. Since my disappearance, things from the outside appeared to go back to normal. But I knew. When they had come home, the two of them would often cry. I really am so sorry. When I was a living ghost, I was too scared to be near them. It was too painful. Now, however, I knew that watching their pain and grief was something I had to do. After all, this was my fault. I absent-mindedly watched the two of them leave when I heard a whimpering sound behind me. Good morning, Tonodamaru. Good morning, Sayaka. I knew that Sayaka couldn't hear me, but she looked in the direction of her dog's whimpers. She gave me a small smile.
Misa, そこにいるんだよね。
Yes, I'm here.
あなたの身に何があったのか、私にはわからないけど、今もセナさんと一緒なんだよね。
Leave it to my best friend to know exactly what I'm up to.
あなたが笑っていられる世界なら、それでいいから。
Sayaka. Thank you. I am happy.
さあ、行くよ、Tonodamaru.
I watched her and Tonodamaru leave and then stared up at the empty sky. After that, I went on a little walk and headed to the park to wait for someone to arrive.
ミサちゃん、ごめん、待った？
No, I just got here, so don't worry. I smiled and shook my head. He had arrived exactly on time for our meeting. So, have all the fans headed home today?
うん。花束を備えてくれたよ。
Seems like more and more people by the day. The sightings of you on social media have increased too. Over the past month, whenever I went to school, the topic of Sina had become one that never failed to excite the girls in my class.
うん。さっきのファンの子たちもちょっと噂してたんだけど、なんとセナ君かっこ去年19には熱愛報道が出てるらしいんだ。
Huh? Sina mentioned something interesting. He said that someone posted on social media about Sina walking around with a female ghost. A female ghost.
いやー、まさか死んでから女性関係で話題になっちゃうなんてスター性出ちゃったかな。
Is that something to be happy about?
嬉しいに決まってるでしょ。週刊誌公認の中になるかもだし。
That sure would be something. But then all of your fans are going to hate me.
うん、それは大丈夫。今度霊感のある人が来たら僕の彼女ですって発表しとくから。
I was only kidding around, but he sounds serious. That's a joke, right? Santa shook his head from side to side while letting out an audible sigh.
だってミサちゃん、最近愛の言葉言ってくれないんだもん。だから外堀から埋めようと思って。
Suddenly, Sena pulled my hand. Ah!
幽霊になる前はあんなに素直だったのに。
He stared down at me, a slightly resentful look in his eyes. I was at a total loss for words. About that.
吊り橋効果で高ぶってただけとか言ったりしないよね。僕泣いちゃうよ。
Something had occurred to me lately. I had always thought that Sena was a calm person, but he was actually quite possessive. Well, I guess I haven't had the chance to tell you how I feel recently. I mean, the way I feel about you, the love I have for you, that's never going to change.
うんうん。それで
I
続きはもっと愛の言葉は
don't have much else to say. What exactly is it you want, Sena? What's going to make you satisfied?
おかしな質問をするね。僕はいつも満たされてるよ。ただお腹いっぱいにならないだけで。だってどんなに愛の言葉を重ねてもどんなに触れ合っても足りない。僕はいつでもいくらでも君が欲しくてたまらないんだから。
Oh, I see. His feelings of deep love and affection made me happy. Yet I worried sometimes that I couldn't communicate my feelings well enough and that would leave him unsatisfied. Still, keeping things as they are might be for the best. After all, my feelings for him wouldn't lose to anyone. Oh, that was the heavenly end? Mm.
君との幽霊ライフは楽しすぎて成仏できなさそうだよ。ずーっとこのままでいたいな。本当に大好き。君も言って、僕への思いを。いくら伝えられても足りないから。
Huh. Well, that... I guess I could say that the heavenly end didn't end the way I would have expected. This plays much more like a bad end than a heavenly end. You know, at least with Hibiki and Hibiki and Kuraha had like more romantic endings, I think, even though I wasn't like super fond of Hibiki. But this ending is just like you gave up your own life after being lucky enough to be have it granted back to you to live life with your ghost boyfriend. I don't know who thought this would be good, and then he kind of is a little creepy at the end. I'm like, I mean, I don't know if I agree with this ending. It's a shame too, because I think the game is really good overall. I think it's a pretty good visual novel. Not as good as the Sparrow Drops, which we played before. I think that game, that particular visual novel, I think they got everything right on that one. And this one, I think, is definitely hit or miss depending on what route you want to pick. But I guess there's also a sequel being planned for this. So maybe some feedback on how these characters are. Maybe that will change the way the new characters will act. I don't know. I'm real torn about this. Like, I do like it. Like, I like the visuals. Normally, I would say I like the audio, but we didn't play this with music due to copyright issues. But I mean, each of these characters, I don't love them all, so that makes it a little tough. Maybe other folks would feel differently about these main characters, or about these romance options. But yeah, I mean, Kuraha's pretty good. I think Hibiki's overall route was good, but he's just kind of a creepy character. And then this route, it's like it was pretty good up until that last couple of minutes, really. I mean, I think the last 20 minutes of this route are, I mean, I wouldn't call them good. So anyway, this will be all that we're going to be playing for 9 R.I.P. We will pick another Otomi for tomorrow. I'll have to figure out what that'll be, but yeah. I would say I mostly recommend this. How you feel about the characters is largely going to depend on your own personal preferences. Unfortunately for me, it's like I liked one of the 3 routes that we played, and obviously there are more routes. There's more characters in this. I mean, this is not even half the content. I hope the other characters are better. Just kind of these last 2 really didn't leave me feeling great, but. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching. I will see you at the next stream.